Hello everyone. Today we are going to play a rapid game. I am rated around 2200 and my opponent is rated around 1300. So we are going to see the difference in the strategies and how different players of different ratings play, and also I would give some general advice on your play style. So I played e4 and my opponent has responded with b6. This is the fierce defense setup, or it might be some other setup, but usually the idea is that white tries to fianchetto the bishop and then castle quickly and launch an attack. So my opponent is allowing me to grab the center, so I'm just gonna grab the center by playing d4. Okay, so my opponent has played knight f6. I'll just defend the pawn. I can defend with the bishop or the knight. If I defend with the bishop, then I have the option to play c3. So let's do that actually. Okay, so they are following with their typical plan of putting the bishop on g7 on this long diagonal. We can play c3 and kind of weaken this bishop as the pawn would be nicely protected. So let's just develop. Let's just play knight e2, because after bishop d4 we could play f3. We also have the option to play f4 and the knight isn't in the way, so we play knight e2. Okay, we can just castle. Okay, so they played this move c5, trying to undermine our d4 pawn, and if we capture, then we can do that, but the bishop becomes really active. So we could just play c3, or we could close the center with d5. All of them are, I think, playable options, but let's be principled. Let's actually play, let's actually try to control as much center as possible and preserve our central pawns. They would castle and we could just bring out our pieces. Okay, they take, so let's just recapture. Now we have these nice central pawns. They castled. We could bring out the knight. We could play f3 and then play bishop e3, so there is no knight g4. So let's just play knight c3. Okay, they played knight c6. The pawn is not really under any attack, but there is some pressure on the pawn. We could play bishop e3, but then there is knight g4, which is quite unpleasant. As after, if we trade our dark square bishop for the knight, then this bishop would be uncontested on this diagonal. So it is not ideal to trade the dark square bishop. So what other move do we have? We can play f3, preventing knight g4, and I actually like f3, or we could play f5 maybe. f5 is also playable, but I think it's too fast. Let's just play f3. I don't think we are in a good enough position to immediately attack black. So let's try to assess what black can play. Black can try going to b4, but then we just have bishop b1, and I don't see any good moves for black here. I think we have plenty of space, so maybe they'll try something like e5, or they can maybe try to play something like knight. Okay, they played queen b6, putting pressure on the pawn. If we play bishop e3, then I'm assuming they want to take, but I don't think that's necessarily bad for us, as we have activity against the queen. So we could do that. We could play knight a4, and after knight a4, if they play queen a5, then we have bishop d2. I like knight a4. I feel like bishop e3, queen captures on b2, rook b1, queen a3, rook b3. Yeah, it does look promising actually, bishop e3. But I think knight a4 is just a safer option, and I would go for that because I think our position is good enough. So if there is anything uncertain or unclear, then I don't think there is a point in playing that. So I'm just going to play the safer option, which is knight a4. If queen f5, then bishop d2. Black is just helping us get our pieces out. And if queen c7, then we could just play bishop e3, or maybe bishop f4. Bishop f4, there might be some e5. Bishop e3 is just a nice move, as we could set up a battery by playing queen d2 and then exchange this strong bishop. Because in this kind of modern openings, usually black's play revolves around the this diagonal and this bishop. So if we are able to disarm it by trading, then I think we would have a pleasant position. And I don't think black would have any initiative there, because we always have our nice central pawns. So we would always have an advantage. Okay, they played queen a5. So let's just double check. After bishop d2, what if they go to h5? Then we can just improve our pieces. And this queen is also kind of trapped. So let's just play bishop d2. Okay, they played queen d8. So now we could just bring in our rook. That's the only piece which is not active or developed. Also, our pawn is actually quite weak here. They could play something like knight d1, e5. But yeah, we still have a pleasant position. So let's just play rook c1 and see what black does. Okay, they played e5. We could close the center and permanently this bishop would be kind of stuck if we close the center because of this pawn the bishop cannot come back over here and this diagonal is controlled by the bishop, so I think d5 is just a nice move. Knight d4, we could trade. Actually I like knight knight c3 first, after knight c3 and then trading, so we can go to e2 or c4 and put pressure. We could have taken immediately also, and then played something like b3 and tried bringing knight to b2 and c4 from there. c4 might have been a better square. So I think this was a mistake. I think we should have captured first and then played d3. But I think this is also pretty pleasant. They can play something like knight d7. Knight d7, actually what do we play? We can capture. We can capture and play like knight b4 maybe. No, knight b4. No, I think we just go back to e2 and then play for. We could after after knight d7 we could capture and then go to e2. Maybe play bishop f4 and try to make this battery. But I think this knight is also stuck. If black captures, then then how should we capture back? I like capturing with the queen just visually, but I actually don't know. Capturing with the knight might be better. They have played a6. I think the point was stopping us from going to b5. Okay, so if we capture and play knight e2, they're gonna play 97. Let's just play bishop bishop d3, piling up, and after knight d7 play queen d2. So we have a time trouble issue here. We might be getting low on time, so it's only been 15 moves. So we have to pick up our pace. I'm expecting knight d7. We also have this idea to play knight b1, knight d2, and knight knight c4. Okay, they play knight d7. We can play actually b4, trying to stop the knight. We can take. We can take with the bishop. We can play. Yeah, let's just play queen d2. After knight c4, we could just maybe go to b1. We could also. No, we can't take. We'll just play. They have knight b3, but we would win two pieces, and I think I'm fine with it. Do I see any other moves? Maybe they can try bring it out. Okay, they took. So we take with the. Uh, can take with the knight actually. I don't know. Let's take with the queen. You know what? Let's take with the knight. I want to keep this battery. And we're also threatening to win the pawn. So they might protect. No, they might. They would have to retreat, I guess, or play. Yeah, they're just gonna play p6. Then we have to somehow. We have a good position, but we have to figure out what exactly we have to do. So after b6, I was thinking we have b4, and then we have this open file. So let's play b4. Actually, like the move. And after knight a4, we could also trade. We could play rook c6. I don't like trading the bishop just now. We could try doubling up also. Also notice how this knight is the only active piece black has. Okay, so they just went back. Now we have rook c6. We have infiltrated. If they play bishop d7, then we can capture. And our plan is to just double up and then slowly try winning these pawns and then finding a path for a knight. But I think it's a low time game, so we might not have to think too much. They should really play fast now. I think once you start getting low on time, you shouldn't really think about exact plans. You should just make moves, play fast. You don't have to play perfect chess all the time. You just have to be practical. and stay in the game as long as you can, so that you will create opportunities and chances. So, okay, they played f5. They finally striked. We can capture. We can capture on b6, but I think here just doubling up is sufficient. If they actually, yeah, we shouldn't have let them close the position. I think we would take with the bishop. So our bishop is open. We could maybe give them some time. They played b4. Now the infiltration with going the exchange will be much powerful, as the rook is also coming to the final rank. Okay, they have only 10 seconds. Oh, rook b8 actually. So we could try playing bishop b6 here, or yeah, bishop g5. Actually a mistake, because they can get two rooks for the queen. Uh, okay, so now we don't have to panic. I am panicking. We have to find a way to get our knight into the game. I like h4, creating some space first, and then I'm planning to play f4 and try to get the knight in this way. Okay, they're playing extremely well now. After the on low time, they're playing extremely well. Bishop e1, you can take, you can just trade. We can centralize our knight. If now we could actually have to be careful here. So you can play queen e1 and try to bring our queen in this way. It is actually kind of important that this bishop stays out of the game. We oh my god, we just allowed them to infiltrate. Oh my god, actually just threw this game. Okay, so we can play f1, we have some time. I'm thinking here, there. Hmm. Actually here, maybe. After rook takes. They attack the queen. Okay, yeah, we just lost. So that was an interesting game. We lost because we cannot stop rook h1 checkmate. So yeah, let's actually analyze.
That was intense, man.
Yeah,
You
I
did?
feel like you started playing like in the last
Amey?
minute you just played so well.
Hello?
Hello, hello. Uh, Hello, sorry,
Amey?
sorry. I was, yeah,
That was intense, man.
yeah.
I think you should not have given up the two rooks.
That was, yeah. I didn't see that. That was a
Yeah,
blunder.
yeah. I think you had way too much pressure. Like if you just kept the rooks on that rank.
No, even
Um,
then I'm winning. So the
yeah.
mistake was,
Even after the rooks were
yeah.
traded. Yeah. Anyway, we'll analyze some other day. Okay, I have to leave.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, upload your video which you recorded to a Google Drive and just share it with me for now. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Okay.